Hey everyone, Kyle once again, and welcome back to another movie review and another anniversary movie review. Today is June 25th, and today marks the 35th anniversary of my all-time favorite horror film. That film, right here, John Carpenter's The Thing. Now, long ago I did a movie review of this. You can check that out. But John Carpenter's The Thing, the 35th anniversary movie review. Yeah, so today marks the 35th anniversary of this film. Came out went all the way back from 1982. My all-time favorite horror film. I still love this film to death. It's still holds up today, and it's considered one of the greatest horror films of all time. And it's beyond a classic. I would say it's a horror masterpiece, directed by the legendary John Carpenter. And it's also my favorite remake because it was remade from the 1950s, The Thing from Another World, which I like the original The Thing from Another World, but this, I don't know what can I say. It's just amazing, fantastic. But I'm not gonna go through this whole thing because I've already reviewed this film before, but. And with such an awesome cast, great directing, top-notch, awesome, groundbreaking of special effects, some done by Rob Button, but also even Stan Winston had a hand in it as well. His hand, Stan Winston's hand in the special effects is with the dog when that transforms. So Stan Winston and I really did a great job with that, but the rest of the creature effects by Rob Button, it's his memorable effects. The effects still hold to this day. It's not dated. Kurt Russell. Kurt fucking Russell. That's what it is. That's what I'm saying. Amazing, because I love Kurt Russell. I love the majority of all the films he's been in. Also one of my favorite actors. He's amazing in this as R.J. McCready. Wilford Brimley as Blair. Great job. Keith David, who I really do enjoy, as Childs. I enjoy Keith David as an actor. He's a great actor. He was amazing in this. The rest of the supporting cast, like T.K. Carter as Knowles, Charles Hallahan, who's now no longer with us, as Norris, Richard Masur as Clark, David Clennon as Palmer, Richard Dessart as Dr. Copper, Donald Moffat as Gary, Thomas Waits as Windows, Joel Polis as Fuchs, Peter Maloney as Bennings. So yeah, and the thing is what also makes the film kind of unique. It's an all-male cast, no female characters in this, an all-male cast. Never that rare where it's an all-male cast in a films nowadays. Love the score by Eno McCorney, can't remember his last name. It's definitely one of the best scores in horror films. That dun 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 dun. Love that score. Love that theme. The rest of the score is amazing. And this is the collector's edition. Has a ton of features on this film. Has a running commentary with Kurt Russell and John Carpenter. Terror Takes Shape, an 80-minute original documentary featuring interviews with Carpenter, Kurt Russell, the special effects designer Rob Button, legendary minute artist Albert Whitlock, plus members of the cast, crew, and special effects team. Also featuring never-before-seen stop-motion animation footage cut from the film, exclusive work-in-process visual effects footage, behind-the-scenes location footage, original trailer, outtakes from the film, behind-the-scenes photos, storyboards and conceptual art, and another production archive. A lot of features. A lot of features. And this is all in one disc. Didn't need a 2-disc edition for this. It's all in one disc. I just love this. What more can I say? It's a classic. It's a horror masterpiece. It's by legendary John Carpenter. Kurt Russell is the man. He's amazing, fantastic. I would say it's hard because with Kurt Russell, you have him playing Snake Plissken in Escape from New York, then Jack Byrne in Big Trouble in China. You got this character, R.J. McCready. Great roles from Kurt Russell. 3 classic characters he's played from the 80s. It's hard to say what's the favorite character. I think I probably said it before, but I think it's more of Jack Byrne because it's more of the comedic and the lines, the dialogue, and stuff like that. I think I probably said that from Big Trouble in China. I think that's my favorite role for Kurt Russell. But Snake Plissken and Archie McCree are just as equally great characters as well. And it's based on a short story called Who Goes There by John W. Campbell Jr., which I've not read though, but still. And the film, it did poorly at the box office, sadly, because it came out around the same time when E.T. the Extraterrestrial was rolling in the dough. So the film barely made any money, about $15 million budget, but only made like $19 million. So it wasn't that big of a hit, sadly. And also this opened the same weekend as Ridley Scott's Blade Runner as well, which I enjoyed the Blade Runner. I think that's also a classic as well. But easily the two, I picked The Thing. And I still say the thing is, for alien film-wise, I still picked The Thing over E.T. And the film has also made a comic book series, a video game, and yes, it even came out with this, which I call bullshit. This is one I will still say, I will review this. I will. After when I do my things for my birthday month of June, sometime maybe in July, for this. Because this is pure garbage, and this is one of the most bullshit movies I've ever seen in my life. I will get to that though, and I will explain why. So yeah, you'll hear about this pretty soon, but wait until I'm finished when I review the stuff for the month of June, because I have to do all those ones that I plan to review. But yeah, that film can kiss my ass. That is an insult to this film, because I wanted to see it. I want a sequel to this because John Carpenter, he wanted to do a sequel to this. It was sometime during the mid-2000s, somewhere in the mid-2000s, somewhere around there. He wanted to do a sequel. He wanted Kurt Russell and Keith David to come back. I would have loved to see that. Because growing up with this film, my dad loves this film to death. It's also one of his all-time favorite films as well. But they said no to John Carpenter. Basically told him to screw off. So instead of doing a sequel, we wanted to do a prequel because we wanted to explain what happened with the Norwegian camp that Kurt Russell and the Doctor, McCready and the Doctor found up there. Yeah, demystify that. Because nowadays they want to demystify everything, because we don't have the brains to use our imagination to think about, oh, what happened to this at the Norwegian camp? What happened? How did the axe get there? Or what happened to this frozen guy that cut his wrists? Or what was in the block of ice and all that stuff? No. Besides doing a sequel, we want to do a shitty prequel that just totally demystifies everything, to explain everything, what happened up at the camp. I mean, we do not need to know what happened at the Norwegian camp. We can use our imaginations to figure out what happened. And plus, it's the same thing with the Alien prequels, like Prometheus, and then also another one I'm calling bullcrap, Alien Covenant. Yes, I hated Alien Covenant. So yeah, I saw that, and I did not like it. That's also why I put one of the worst ones I've seen this year. But I will still say this is, to me, as a huge fan of this film I call more bullshit than Alien Covenant. So, but still, because I also consider the fact because I'm a huge fan of Alien and Aliens. But still, I still say that this is a much more bullshit prequel than Alien Covenant or Prometheus. Because I love this film, because this is my all-time favorite horror film, and that's more of an insult to me. So that's why. But yeah, with a prequel, and which also feels like it's a remake as well, because it looks like a remake. They take a lot of things from this film and they put it into that, which makes it like feels like a remake. And even though, yeah, it is a prequel, but it looks like a remake. And the reason why I keep on pointing to it with the middle finger, this is what I want to do with it. For that film, the middle, give it the bird. You know, that's why I feel this is just really quick. This is what I feel about it. But yeah, going back to this though, simple. A plane, an extraterrestrial spacecraft crashes to Earth. Great opening title, like how it did for the original film. It's in 1982 in Antarctica, and it opens up with a helicopter, a Norwegian helicopter, shooting at this dog. Which time at the time you're wondering why they're shooting at a dog. Of course, you already know about it. Everyone knows about it because even including with the prequel. And you get this the American camp with Kurt Russell and his gang. They see the helicopter, and the Norwegian tries to shoot the dog, but then Gary kills the guy because they don't know what's going on, and McCready wants to go up there, to their camp, and of course, like I said, you did not with the prequel, you did not need to know what happened at the Norwegian camp, but the people sometimes they just don't listen. That's the thing. So yeah, of course, as you're watching this, it's already demystified for you, because as soon as you're watching, as they're walking through the camp, you're probably thinking about this film, what happened in this. So yeah, the axe of the door, the guy frozen with his wrist slashed open, the block of ice in the room, and then the body they found outside. They bring it back. And then the dog that puts him with all the other dogs they have, which I felt sorry for the dogs because I'm a dog lover, so I felt sorry for those because they were just innocently lying down resting. And of course, they, unlike us, they show more fear. They sense more fear than us, though. So they bark at it, and this is the fact where Stan Winston had a hand in it with the special effects of the dog. The dog thing, should be exact. So Stan Winston did a really great job with that. And really great, awesome effects. Groundbreaking. I'm still calling groundbreaking effects because the effects are just pure. No CGI. Awesome. That's more, sorry, it's awesome, top notch, wherever any positive word I can think of the book. Two of the dogs get away, but sadly not for the rest of the dogs. And they find the thing is, once again, great effects with a mutant thing, and Childs, he burns it. Blair, Wilford Burnley, explains that it's an organism that imitates other life forms. Tries to imitate the dogs. And they find the footage that the Norwegians had, and all of a sudden Blair, before that, the guy Bennings, he gets mutated, and they find Bennings, which is not Bennings. See, like, the hands are still imperfect, and it starts, whoa, the growl. Then they burn it. So they burn some more, and then Blair, he goes crazy because he destroys the helicopter and the radio. And then they put him in the shack to isolate him from everybody. And they wanted to do a blood test, but they find the blood has been sabotaged. And there's been theories on like who sabotaged the blood. Like the most common is like either between like Gary, because he's the one who had the keys. he had the keys to it. That's what they also McCready thinks that he could only could have gotten to the blood. There's been countless theories on who was infected, how did they get infected in this film, like with Palmer or Norris. Because I do think that how Norris got affected, because when the dog was wandering around the camp by itself, it goes into a room and you see a person's shadow on the wall when it turns back to it. I assume because I'm trying to look at the silhouette how the shadow is, and the hair, in the shadow, the shape of it. I pretty much assumed that was Norris, because that didn't look like Palmer's, because Palmer was more of a skinny guy and the shadow was a little bit wide, and so I knew probably 100% sure that was Norris that got affected by the dog, because he was alone. The dog went in there alone. But there was like accounts of how the theories on how Palmer got infected. How did he become an imitation? But but then Windows he freaks out and he tries to get a gun, but Gary holds a gun to him, and the paranoia and the conspiracies, and all, well, mainly paranoia on who's who to trust. Just a perfect example of a mystery and the paranoia, who could be an imitation, because an imitation could imitate a person very well. So, and then McCready, saying outside, like, I know I'm human, and some of you are still human. This thing doesn't want to show us, so he wants to hide inside an imitation. It'll fight if it has to, but it's vulnerable out in the open. It takes us over, then it has no more enemies, no way to kill it, and then it's won. So yeah, Kurt Russell, phenomenal. And then with Fuchs, he's out alone, and he goes outside, and they find him later that he burned himself, or that there was another theory that someone else might have done it, might have killed him. But and then they wonder what Kurt Russell is with McCready and Knowles. The Knowles comes back with a ripped, torn up shirt of McCready's. They assume that he's one of them, and then he gets him through the window in the supply room, and then he's ready to blow everyone else. Like, everyone touches me, the whole camp goes. And then they try to get the jump on him, but Norris sees kind of like has a heart attack. And then the amazing effects where the doctor tries to use a defibrillator, and just the chest opens up and just chops his arm off, his hands off. It was a well done, awesome effects, and a good bloody effect. Just the guy's arm just pops off, and the awesome effects of the thing with a little Norris face, and McCready burns it, and then the head of Norris comes off and becomes more of a spider head, and then Palmer's like, "You gotta be fucking kidding!" And McCready burns it, and then he was gonna tie everybody up, and then Clark comes at him with a scalpel and shoots him in the head. And then they're gonna of course they're doing the blood test, and Knowles is fine, Windows is fine. McCready, he says, I'll show you what I already know, and he's already human. And they do Palmer, and he's when he does touch the blood, the blood pops out, and he starts changing. Good bloody effect of the transformation. And Windows, who's gonna blast him, but he's like, or he just stands there as the face splits in half, but he gets himself killed. And then, of course, with Kurt Russell's flamethrower, it jams. And he burns, and it breaks through the wall like paper, and Kurt Russell, badass, throws the dynamite, blows it up, and then Windows starts changing, and he burns him too. And then the rest of them, Childs, Knowles, they're human, and Childs like, get me out of here, because he wants to be close to Gary, but Gary's human as well. And funny dialogue is like, Gary, I know you gentlemen have been through a lot, but when you find the time, I'd rather not spend the rest of this winter tied to this fucking couch. And then they're gonna go out to give Blair the test, as the child stays behind, because if he tries to make it back and he's alone, Creed tells him to burn him. But then they go to the shack, the doors open, they find a tunnel underneath, and he's like building a little spaceship. And they see Childs wander around outside, and then the power goes off. So then McCready blows. They want to warm things up because the thing wants to freeze now, till the rescue team finds it. So they blow up the facility to warm things up. So they go down to the basement. The generator is gone. They plant dynamite to blow the whole place up. And then the infected Blair kills Gary by merging his hand into his face. And then Knowles, he gets killed off screen. He just wanders in that direction where Gary was, but you don't see him get killed, so it cuts away. But then the thing goes to the floor and it pops up. Great looking effect. Once again, great effects. This huge monster, and then also like a dog-like creature comes out through the middle. And then Kurt Russell throws the dynamite saying, "Yeah, fuck you too!" Badass. Blows it up and blows the rest of the building up. And then he's alone with his bottle of scotch, and then the Childs comes up. And Kurt Russell's questioning about Childs, saying where was he? Saying that he thought he saw Blair and he got lost in the storm. And now it's almost back to where it started, because Kurt Russell doesn't know if he's human or not. More the paranoia, but they're not gonna survive the freezing cold. So he's like, well, why don't we just wait here a little bit longer and see what happens? So he gives him the bottle of scotch, and Keith David gives a little smirk. And same with Kurt Russell, and has that great score playing as John Carpenter's The Thing. Now, to the best of my knowledge, because after learning from this, Keith David, from what I remember, he had an earring, because if you borrow from this, because it cannot replicate metal, which you'll find out why. Well, I'm sure people know, but still. Especially at the end with Joel Edgerton, which I'll get into anyway. With Joel Edgerton, because he had an earring and now he doesn't, so indicate that he was infected. But from what I remember, Keith David, he still had an earring at the end of the film, so indicating, to me at least, I think he's still human, but still, like Kurt Russell, he doesn't know that. He doesn't know if he's human or not, because he doesn't know about the well, hey, who knows? Just not gonna happen. Maybe because this takes place directly. Well, when this film ends, this film begins. So maybe if Kate, Mary Elizabeth Winstan's character Kate finds that facility, maybe you'll find him. I don't know. That sounds still bullshit anyway. But still. But after learning from that, and I remember, I forget where, that Keith David had an earring, so I assume that he is still human because it couldn't replicate the, inorganic materials. So, but there's also theories that shows that maybe Keith David, he's not or is human, but from my standpoint, though. But 35 years later, it still holds up today. The ultimate in alien terror. It still is. It is like one of the most ultimate alien terrors, or I'm not going to say the... Or the other tagline. Right there, if you can see it. Man is the warmest place to hide. So yeah. John Carpenter's The Thing. It's definitely the best film from John Carpenter. I love Halloween. I love Escape from New York. The Fog. Most of the majority of John Carpenter's films. I wish that John Carpenter today. Well, I wish he would just give one more last chance to direct just one last movie. The Ward. It doesn't feel like it's directed by John Carpenter. It looks like a generic direct-to-video horror film. But I wish he would just give the opportunity to direct just one last film. But well, he's going to be involved with the new Halloween film with Danny McBride and the guy who directed, I forget who the other director they were involved with. They did comedies. He did comedies. So John Carpenter is going to be involved. He's going to be like executive producer. I think he's going to do the music for the new Halloween film. I don't know. I'm still not sure about that. But regardless, though, I love John Carpenter. In horror, he's a legend. It's a master of suspense. But great cast. Love Kurt Russell. Love him to death in this film. The supporting cast, Wilford Brimley. I enjoy Keith David. And also Wilford Brimley and the rest of the supporting cast. Awesome, top-notch, groundbreaking effects. Still holds up to this day. Great directed by John Carpenter. The score by Morricone. Memorable score, especially the theme. Probably one of the best themes in horror films. It's too bad. It's too bad this film was not a big hit. But after that, though, it's gained a huge fan base over the years, and it's been called a cult classic. And it has an 8.2 on IMDb. It has an 81% Rotten Tomatoes, which 81% I give it a much higher rate. I'll definitely give this about a 95, at least to me, percent in Rotten Tomatoes. 8.2, that's good enough, but I would give it 8.5, if not 9.0, in my opinion. But yeah, it's definitely worth reviewing for a 35th anniversary movie review. I love this film to death. My all-time favorite horror film / remake. Like other remakes, I love Chuck Russell's The Blob. I enjoy David Cronenberg's The Fly. The remakes of nowadays, Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead. For live-action films, that's Zack Snyder's best film, but I still put legends like The Owls of Ga'Hoole, Legend of the Guardians. Alexander Haddad's The Hills Have Eyes remake. I love that remake. So yeah, there are remakes I still enjoy, but just 90% of the remakes nowadays suck. And especially if they do prequels like this film, which is an insult and I still call bullshit today. I will get to that though. When I finish up this month, sometime in July, I will review that monstrosity, because that film makes me want to punch a hole in the wall, and which I have punched a hole in the wall before, long time ago. I left not in my room, but somewhere else in the house. I did have literally punched a hole in the wall. And it wasn't because of the movie. It's totally unrelated for another reason. So, but yeah, but I will get to that though. But not right now. I'll save all my energy for another time. But this film, it's my all-time favorite horror film. I cannot praise this film enough. I cannot respect the film enough. This is everything I don't know, because there's films that I just cannot live without. If at the end of the world and wherever films I can take, any special films that I would take, if it's the end of the world, I would definitely take this with me. I'll definitely take my Jurassic Park films with me, or Godzilla 1998, or Deep Rising. But I'm just pointing it out though, but still. And also one thing, it's easily fast-paced as well. It's 1 hour and 49 minutes, but it's easily fast-paced. Forgot about the pacing. It's easily fast-paced. So yeah, everything, the production, the score, cast, effects, directing, everything in the book, this film I find I have no problems with whatsoever. My dad loves this film to death. This is one of his all-time favorite films. So yeah, I don't know what more I can say. It's definitely worth reviewing a 35th anniversary movie review for this. I'm glad. I just can't believe it's been 35 years. And I'm glad, even though it wasn't that big of a hit, it has become a cult classic, and considered one of the greatest horror films ever made. I wish there was a sequel with John Carpenter, Kurt Russell, and Keith David coming back. But no, we had to get to that piece of garbage. Instead, demystify everything. But I can just erase that from my mind and just pretend that film never happened, and I can still use I can now because I've seen the film, so none of that matters though, but still, tell anyone to avoid that movie if anyone's not seen that, because it'll use whatever imagination you have. If you do before you see it, you'll just destroy the imagination. Same thing with the the Alien prequels of Prometheus and Covenant. But yeah. But John Carpenter's a thing. I call this a masterpiece. Oh shoot! Slipped out my fingers because I am so excited about the film. But yeah. But if anyone has not seen this film, 35 years later, if anyone has not seen this film by now, please check it out and avoid that film. Avoid the prequel. Don't watch the prequel. But just stick with this film. If anyone's not seen if anyone out there have not seen the film, please check it out. You're missing out on a horror masterpiece. One of the best horror films ever made. And especially if anyone's fans of Kurt Russell or John Carpenter, but I kind of just can't. Everything I've said about everything that I noted: production, effects, cast, score, directing, pacing, photography, the writing, everything. Everything I would say is great about the film. But yeah. I can't praise this film enough, and I can't respect the film enough, so I love the film to death. That's why I have this. You can see right here, and plus especially it looks cool in black and white as well, because it's a nod to the 50s original, because it was in black and white. So I like that. I like the cool look that it's in black and white as well. But yeah, I enjoyed the original The Thing from Another World, from the 50s. That's a good film too. But this film, I give the applaud to. That's why I can't film enough, and that's why I'm always glad to have the poster. It's my all-time favorite horror film. So yeah. So that's my 35th anniversary movie review of the masterpiece, John Carpenter's The Thing. And so thanks for watching, and take care, and stay tuned on the next movie review. And especially for reviewing it during my birthday month as well, which I have two more that I said I was going to review, and I'm going to get to that. And those two are The Island, and last but not least, the underrated Event Horizon. Those two I'll get to that by the end of the month, which is like this week. So yeah, but stay tuned for those two reviews, and once again, love this film to death. Classic, masterpiece, all-time favorite horror film, and / remake. Kurt Russell, John Carpenter, effects, everything. So yeah, thanks for watching, and stay tuned on the next movie review. Later.